All right, let's set sail for another Yahtzee Beat the Runtime. Hey, we're still stuck in the ocean of 1982 mainstream rock. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Van Halen. This is their album Diver Down. That has a Diver Down flag as the cover. Very simple aesthetic. Good for them. Much like yesterday, I think we have a very good opportunity to score some points here. This album is about as long as yesterday's album, but it has more songs, which means we have more games to work with. Don't know what I'm talking about? Well, that's okay. Let's continue on. As always, feel free to suggest albums in the comments. I will get to them at some point, I promise. I have a list of them that I will begin working through at some point in the not-so-distant future. You may be asking yourself, John, where have all the good times gone? Perhaps Van Halen can answer. That's our opening track. If you look at this, we have a few instrumental interludes that are short. All the songs are short. They're all under an optimal Yahtzee score. So theoretically, we should have a pretty good chance at... I don't want to say we have a good chance to get 100 points, but we certainly have a good opportunity. How about that? Let's begin. We need 182 for the opening track. Usually, I would be able to get this kind of score in my sleep, but I can feel the pressure is probably on pretty high right now. Now, we also are going to need 6 Yahtzees throughout the course of this episode, which that in itself is not an easy task, but it helps when you get one on the first game. Hello, all 6s. With that, I can probably afford to try and go for the full house here, even though I do not succeed. I don't want to force it here. I will go for force. Okay, that's kind of stupid. 6, 6, 6. Not trying to be devilish. That's just how they came out, buddy. There's our 4s. Already we're off to a much better start than yesterday, I think. Especially getting that large straight. And maybe if we can get another 5. Oh! I'm still going to try and get that bonus. We've beaten the track. And we scored 247 once finally got our 5s. Very good. 1-0. 11 tracks to go. Hang 'em high. This is, I guess, one of the more difficult songs that we actually need to score. 208 points here, which is, you know, it's not a gimme. None of these are gimmies. I mean, maybe the ones that are like less than 100 points are probably gimmies. If I'm being honest, it'd be very hard to screw those up. I've got a couple pretty good Yahtzee-based YouTube ideas I want to do. We'll see if I know I alluded to them on an episode before. We'll see if I end up doing them. If so, it'll probably be, you know, next month. But things are in the works. The gears are always moving around up here. I can tell you that. We're always thinking about Yahtzee. We're always thinking about music. And when you think about those two things enough, it's inevitable that they're going to come together in a meaningful way. Go for that there. We need 2s. Need another 6. All right. We're already in trouble. Very much in trouble. We need our 2s. 2s or we don't get a perfect score. 187. Unfortunate. At least we don't have to chase perfection the rest of the video, huh? But we can still try to get a very nice rating for clearing as many objectives as possible. As always, those include beating every song or beating as many songs as possible, beating the album runtime as a whole, and getting a predetermined bonus amount of Yahtzees throughout the day. We're looking for 6 today. We've already gotten 1. And oh my goodness, this is pretty bad showing. Unless we can get redemption 6s for a second Yahtzee on Cathedral. And now we can be pretty aggressive here because we've easily cleared the very low bar that this song has from a mathematical standpoint. Now, Van Halen, kind of interesting band, you know. I wouldn't say that I'm a big fan. And so you may ask yourself, why in the hell would you select this album? We're selecting albums right now, currently, and this is going to change, that contain #1 rock hits. And we're going in that order for now. We, as I mentioned, are taking suggestions from the viewers. We would love to hear them. I will add them to a list. I already have quite a bit. And we will be sprinkling those in sooner rather than later. You will probably hear me say this for many episodes, just because I do want to reassure our great, loyal community that their selecting of recommendations has not been in vain, that it has been listened to, and that we will be following through and executing on these as soon as it's appropriate, which will probably be next month. Full disclosure, that's the timeline I'm looking at now. Could change. We could get a bee in our bonnet and crank up the timelines a bit, but we're in Dub's world now. We're in Dub pace, so not a good showing here. There's a full house. I should probably take it. Why I haven't blanked out Yahtzee here, I have no idea. I'm going to do that now. 147 is probably our cap here. Pretty awful showing. We're 2 for 4. I have an easy one coming up. Intruder alert. Been playing a little bit of that Dark Forces remaster. So I got the Star Wars Intruder alert stuck in my head. I can't do the voice. I'm not going to. Intruder alert. There, I did the voice. Millions of people have tuned out of the episode at this point. That's right, millions. Are we just doing Yahtzees with 6s today? Half dozen Yahtzees on half dozen? Okay. Get some 4s going. I'll take a chance. I don't really want to force a full house. I'd rather just take one. There we go. Perfect. Let's go for 6s again. Stingy this time. Feel like recently, oh, that's fantastic. Our second Yahtzee. That's huge. With the exception of what just occurred. I was going to say, it seems like we've been getting very stingy rolls after getting a Yahtzee, but that was not the case right there. So I do want to give full credit to the Yahtzee gods there. We appreciate it. Some little bit of work here. See if we can get another 5 to at least get 4 of a kind. Perhaps a third Yahtzee. Oh, that would have been absolutely incredible. We did get the bonus though, so that's big. I don't see a world in which we don't beat the album runtime here, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'd say we're well on our way to crossing it. Okay, the Pretty Woman's definitely a cover, right? Like they didn't write that. I think it's like a Roy Orbison song or something. Look at this, man. I thought we were going to get another Yahtzee. There's a full house, but okay. It says you got to take the full house, John. Like, that's just what we're going to do today. I guess I didn't realize, like, when I think of Van Halen, I think of, like, you know, guitar solos. And when I think of guitar solos, I just assume the song's probably going to be pretty damn long. Probably my favorite guitar solo, not that anyone asked, but I'm just going to sit here and pretend like there's a chat and that people are asking me questions, because that's what makes this interesting. I would say my favorite guitar solo ever, it's not Van Halen. It's not even a band from this decade. It would be Pearl Jam, and it would be Alive. That guitar solo is a thing of beauty, and I was pretty excited on their most recent record. Was it Dark Matter? That they finally it just feels like every time a new Pearl Jam album comes out, it's like, oh, this is the one where they're going to go back to doing shit that they did on the first two albums. That's always what the reviews say. It's like, oh, this is a return to form, a return to classic Pearl Jam. They've been every album since like Riot Act, I've been hearing this. And then I'll put the album on, and it's like they're still good, but it never scratches that itch. This album, and it sucks for them because it came out the same day as Tortured Poets Department. Actually does sound like the older stuff. Like they actually did kind of get their groove back on quite a bit of the tracks. I mean, it's certainly not a sequel to 10 or Versus, but it is, I mean, it stands on its own as a very, very good record, and, you know, definitely one of the best of the later stage of their career. What does that have to do with Van Halen? Absolutely nothing. Voice in my head asked me what your favorite guitar solo was, and that's what it is. It's Pearl Jam. It's Alive by Pearl Jam. And then we got on a tangent, and now we're on a tangent of sixes, baby. I mean, what song are we on? Dancing in the Street? Doing pretty dang good. I'll go for a Yahtzee, sure. Not wise. We need force. I'm going to hold out for those. There we go. Turn down for force. 244. Already up to 71 on our rating, and could very easily match the runtime on track 8, which in itself, as an interstitial track, is only 42 seconds. There's a lot of those on here, which is good for us. I think a lot about there's our fifth Yahtzee. Hello, it's fives. Hopefully that's not a bad sign. All the other ones were sixes. Of course, double click. Maybe I should implement a counter for how many times I accidentally do that. I've certainly thought about it. I spent a lot of time thinking about what the ideal song length should be, because I feel like that's an unused piece of a song. And so here's what I mean by that. You know, when you have a piece of music, and I'm talking about kind of pop music, rock music, contemporary music, not classical stuff like that, not instrumental stuff, but just things that you would hear on the radio and in concerts. You think of the sound, there's certain aspects, right? There's the sound of the album, the instrumentation. There's the execution of the instruments. There's the lyrics. There's how the vocals sound. There's the production. There's tempo. There's vibe. There's all these things. But I don't think there's some artistic expression I think that you can do with the length of the song. I think that can also be telling. I think, and I don't quite know how to articulate this, but I think that you could probably be deliberate about your song lengths in a way that it contributes value to the art. I think a great example of this, and it's a compilation album that they did in the late 90s, I think, was Fat Records did Short Music for Short People. There's another Yahtzee, which was 101 songs that were 30 seconds or shorter on one album by 101 different bands. That, although gimmicky, is certainly a way in which, you can use the length of a track to, further its message, so to speak. Pardon me if I'm pontificating about this, but it's something I think about a lot. And so having a series like this where we're not really talking about the albums so much musically as we are talking about how meaty they are from a length standpoint, I just think it's an undervalued aspect of many songs. All right. We're on a little bit of a winning streak here. We got 5 in a row. 3 tracks to go. We have definitely beat the album Runtime. We have exceeded our 6 Yahtzee goal. And we are trucking along quite nicely. We need 164 here. I'm not going to get greedy. It's really not a big point to that. We're almost certainly going to beat this song with the Yahtzee in pocket this early. I mean, I've screwed up worse. I mean, obviously, I've put up some pretty bad scores that are much lower than the quota for this one. So let's not pat ourselves on the back too much here. Anything could happen. Go for 2s, 3s, and 6s. Can go for a large straight here. Always a gamble. We've matched the score. Now we'll lock in exceeding it. 6s. Come on. Oh. Go for attempt at a large straight here. Don't get it, but that's okay. Yahtzee attempt. We're at 266 unless we can get a 2 here. Nope. Fair enough. We move on to the full bug. 200 would be just fine here. We are at 90 for our rating, which is, depending on your jurisdiction, an A or a B. I think it's a pretty low A if it is one. Usually I consider something like a 92, 94, somewhere in that range is an A. But curious to know your thoughts. That's you know, something to consider. Probably going to start doing some live streaming soon-ish. There's some things that we want to do here on the channel, and by we, I mean me, that we could use some... another Yahtzee, all 3s. Very nice. We could use some engagement from the general populace. There's going to be a pretty cool live stream series that I'm going to start here also in the coming weeks. That's right, I'm just vaguely hyping up things and not elaborating on them at all. Par for the course. Let's go for another Yahtzee. Why not? Oh, we didn't get it, but we got 209. Oh, we could have taken the large straight there. What a dumbass we are. 214. So we can get 95 for our rating if we can just beat Happy Trails, which is 63 seconds in length. And yet another cover. So this is as close to a gimme as we're going to get. But let's see how well we can play. Because, I mean, you know, we still pride ourselves on optimal play when we can. And in the lack of having any other goals with which to base our score around, I just want to put forward the best product that I can. I'd like to get that bonus. That would be a nice morale boost heading out of this video. There's a small straight. We need 5. I'll go for 4s here. I'm not going to go for a Yahtzee because that's just super greedy. Let's go for 6s and see if we can... Oh, nope. Not going to get much here. That would have been funny if I would have just got a Yahtzee there. Can we get some 5s maybe? It's not enough. Kind of a piss poor showing at the end. 95 rating for Diver Down. Are you a Van Halen fan? Did we do this album justice? That I don't know. We didn't really talk about it a whole lot. We just, and we didn't listen to it because of copyright laws. Hopefully, maybe you were listening to it in the background or in your head. We'll just go with that. We'll continue on our journey. Again, continue to offer up your album suggestions. They are not being ignored. They will be done. Trust me. Until then, we'll see you tomorrow on Yahtzee Beat the Runtime. Subscribe. #subscribe.